Hi guys, this is Nijisa. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to do a somewhat advanced guide, I guess. I don't really know much, but I want to bless you guys with whatever knowledge I have, I guess. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hit that like button, subscribe if you guys haven't already. I'm gonna go over pretty much everything. Okay, so let's quickly go over the punishment guide. Pretty much, for the most part, anything from -10 to -13, for the most part, you're going to use for the standing, you're going to use from 10 to 13, it's all going to be 2-3 back for the most part. Everything's going to be 2-3 back unless you really want to do, unless you don't have the range. 2-3 back doesn't have the range. So yes, sometimes you do have to throw out 1-2 or down 4-1-2 for 13 if you are playing against an opponent whose 13 frame does push far away. So yes, for the most part, 2-3 back. Okay, next, 14 frame punishers. So against a 14 frame punish, obviously now in seasons 4 we've got the back 2-2, so always try to utilize this as best as you can. Of course, it is a little bit of pain in the butt when you're playing against female character because they do have the option of slapping you back, which is really stupid, but oh well, that's just the way it is. Okay, and then next, our 15 frame punisher, right? Now you have a 15 frame punisher of this down 4-2. You could use this. It obviously will do more damage than using back 2-2 here. So yeah, go ahead and use down 4-2 for the 15. And then pretty much the rest, as long as it's within range, you should always use down 4-2. However, if there are certain moves, for example, let's say certain moves like this where it pushes you far away, you cannot really just do down 4-2 here. So what you should do is for 4-3, if you have the input skills to do this, you can punish this with for 4-3. As you can see there, punishment for 4-3. However, if that is too difficult, the best way for that is for 1+2. You can get an easy punishment there. And if you do have Rage Art, a lot of times Rage Art will surprise you about how much range it has. So yeah, like sometimes you'll be shocked how much range it has, and then sometimes you'll be shocked how little range it has, right? Okay, so now with that covered, let's check out the low block moves, right? So let's say pretty much, in my opinion, anything from 16 down, just do while rising 3. Yeah, kind of sucks, but let's say okay, let's do this move here. This is -15, but for the most part, you could do while rising 1-2. It gives you 25, and it gives you +2, which is not that great. You could do while rising 3, it gives you 22. It does give you +8, which is much better. You can go for this move here. It doesn't really hit, so it is like within 14, but if it's a different character, it might hit depending on what kind of move it is on that -15. And then pretty much you don't really have anything else other than while rising 4. You could do, while rising 2 will not punish this. It is at 18, so yeah, while rising 2 will not punish this, so you can't use that. And then of course, like I said earlier, for -17, you do have a different option because obviously, I mean, you always have this up 4 as well as for 14 frames and under, but it's not really worth it. So for 17 frames, for example, this move here, you can't use while rising 2 on this. Obviously, it's 18 frames. But if you do have the input skills, you can do a for 4-3 to actually catch this. So let me try to show it to you guys. There you go. There you go. So yeah, that's the 17 Punisher if you can do it from the low guard, right? So yeah, that pretty much covers all the punishments. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Okay, so covering the spacer guide. The spacer guide, this is just from my experience. There might be more moves that I don't know about, and primarily these are used on block. So if you manage to land this on block, these are kind of your three moves that, or the three moves that I know of that are really good spacer move. Maybe there might be more, but still. Down 4-3-3-3 is a pretty good spacer move for the general character outside of Gigas, you know, and maybe Jack. So yeah, this is a pretty good spacer move. As you guys can see, it is -11, but it is way out of jab range, right? And then of course down back to 4 as well, it is -10 noni, and it is also out of jab range. And yes, this particular move here at -11, Lee could do 4-4 on here. Other characters with Magic 4 and whatever, anything like that, will not reach. And then your other spacer move outside of these two here is your for 4 1+2. This gives decent, you know, pushback, but it's just such a like slow move, and it doesn't really track to. It only tracks one side, and it just comes out too slow to really use it. So I wouldn't recommend it too much. And then you also have the 4-2-3. It does jail, but as you can see, it doesn't really push that far. So in other words, certain characters that have like long range jab might be able to throw interrupting jab at you before you can move. So yeah, so it's not such a good move for spacing. If you really want spacing moves, somebody bum rushing you, down back to 2-4 is always the best answer, because once you throw that out, they cannot land a consecutive hit again. Like they will have to rush up at least to throw something. And if they just throw from like, if they just throw from this far, a lot of times they will always whiff their first hit unless they do like a really long range move. But then most long range moves are pretty slow, so you could probably walk it depending on which kind of move they throw. And if not, you could just block it. Most of the slow moves are usually not very safe as well. So okay, that covers the spacing guide. Alright, so let's take a look at whiff punishments. Usually my whiff punishment option that I always go to is for 4-3. Sometimes with the lag you do get 4-3, so you know, when you get that, just like be pissed off because you know you went for 4-3. But yeah, I normally don't use down 4-2 that much unless they're like right next to me and they're like whiff right here, then I do down 4-2, right? Immediately, right? Boom, right? Because if they're this close, there's no reason to do for 4-3. The only reason why I would do it for 4-3 is like if they whiff from like right here, boom, bah, like this far, and they stop, then you can go like for 4-3, right? That's normally how I do it. But with that said, 4-4 also has pretty good range. As you can see, not that good range, but normally it does have pretty decent range, right? So my point is, it has better range than down 4-2. So if you want, you can throw this out once in a while because it's not that bad anymore. It's only -11, so it's pretty safe option now and really good range. So let's just say your opponent like whiffs for 4 like this. A lot of times, well, I didn't even get a punish on that. But let's say like if they whiff on that move right there, right? Or let's use a slower move, right? Like let's say your opponent throws this super slow move out, and you know they whiff like from right there, right? A lot of times you can whiff punish this with that, or you could throw this out, you know, so you see the whiff, bang, like that, right? A lot of times it's harder to like really do down 4-2 if you're not right next to them, right? Okay, so for the most part, for 4-3 or down 4-2 or 4-4, even down 4-1-2 or just jabs will do you good too, as long as you can whiff punish something, right? Damage is better than nothing. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and cover the tracking and homing options first before we discuss the pressure guide, because for the most part I'm gonna go back a lot to these tracking options and homing options during the pressure guide. So let's just go ahead and take a look at them. Okay, so tracking left walkers, meaning when they walk this way, right? Tracking left walkers, you have I'm just gonna go ahead and detail it real quick. You have the 4-2. You have the down back 1. You have the 4-4-3 neutral, but of course this doesn't always work, so don't rely on this. The only way to make that work is you gotta like hold on 4, then press a 3, okay? And it's harder to do than just for 4-3. For example, if you do for 4-3, it will whiff. If you do for 4 neutral 3, it will hit. So don't rely on it too much unless you are pro at it. Then rely on it. Okay. Obviously, the best one to use is quarter circle 4-1 because you naturally use this in your game, right? Quarter circle 4-4, pretty slow. At least at high crushes, it looks like, right? Quarter circle 4-3, I wouldn't like rely on this a lot either, but sometimes it works. And of course, if you get that to work, you might as well just throw out the second one, right? And then down 4-1 plus 2. This is pretty decent, but the problem is it gives you like 0 damage. So I wouldn't really rely on it too much. And then next we have the other side. The other side. Of course, you have the CJM 1 plus 2, but we're not going to go into detail about the CJM because we already did the other day about the secret tech. And if you guys don't know the secret tech, you guys can check out that particular video right here. Bing! And it will explain everything for you there. And then, okay. You have the 4-1 plus 2. Boom. You have the down 4-4. Obviously, this is a very useful option because it's low. And then you have the down 4-2, which for some odd reason does not work when you do this. For some reason, only the initial frame messed up. As you can see there, sometimes you get that really random one. But as someone told me, if you just delay a little bit, boom, you will catch them. Delay a little bit, boom, you will catch them. Not even moving. I'm not even moving, right? I just delay. But if you really want to, you could always realign yourself. But if you realign yourself, you might as well do anything you want, right? Like you could use any move. But my point is, if you delay a little bit, this will still catch. But if you don't delay, it's kind of strange. It just doesn't catch. I wonder if it... Yeah, see? Like if it's within like 4 to like plus 3 to plus maybe 5-ish, for some reason it just doesn't catch anymore. Okay. So next, obviously you have this move here. It only tracks one way, so don't think this move is actually a homing move. In other words, if they do go this way, for example, it will whiff, okay? So don't use this for a homing move. Use it to track right, and don't ever use it because it sucks anyway. So yeah, I'll never use it, but you guys can use it. No, I'm kidding, I do use it once in a while. Okay, back one also tracks that way. I would really never use this move too unless I accidentally do it because of the lag. Like sometimes you let go of back and you press 1 online, you do get back 1 that comes out randomly, but not like you intentionally try to do it. But it does suck, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend you using it, but yeah, you could use it still if you want. Obviously the 4-4-3 is the best option. If you want to track to your right, to your left, where they're walking right, use 4-4-3. It's such a good move. Most players will not punish that. I'm just telling you, it's the truth. It's hard to punish because if you are a reaction player and you're looking at that, you're expecting your opponent to do 4-4-2-3 right at 3-4-3 back a lot. So yeah. And then obviously the quarter circle 4-1-2 also tracks that way. It's really good. And then of course this move somewhat tracks that way. I wouldn't say it completely tracks that way. Sometimes it tracks that way. Yeah. Okay, and then next let's take a look at our homing move. I wouldn't consider these as homing move, but down 3 does track pretty good, you know. I say that, but not really. Sometimes it catches, I don't know why, but sometimes it doesn't. The thing is, when I use this on players that likes to walk, it tends to work a lot. And I'm not saying that just this move by itself. I'm talking about like down 3 too, because a lot of players, they like to like throw a jab, sidestep, and launch, right? Let's say Bob, for example, right? He does that like running 2 or whatever he does, sidestep, and then like launch, right? Or whatever. The weird thing is, you could just like down 4-3, down 3-2, and it will work. Which the strange thing, if you watch some of my Fat Boy video that I posted, you can see that actually work. Okay, the real homing move, back to 2, obviously a high 14 startup, pretty good, awesome because it's also safe on block, but it is the double high non-jailing, so it is just as dangerous. Okay, and then you got the back 4, insanely slow move, pretty garbage on hit. I mean, you really don't get anything from this move. Still usable, but in most cases, I just find it completely not worth using if you're going to use it to try to interrupt your opponent, right? Like, for example, if you want a frame trap and you've got like a +7 or whatnot, right? Like, let's just say you got a +7, right? And you want to throw that move, it's almost pointless because you might as well just do a tracking mid option that's faster, right? That's why I'm teaching you guys all the mid option trackings now, so you guys can understand that if your opponent plays a certain way, you can do this to stop them from playing that way, right? Because the idea is, at a high level, it's always a mind game, but you want to tell them that, hey, I know what I could do to stop what you're doing, so you should change up what you're doing too, so that you can make it a mix-up game instead of like just, oh, they're gonna keep doing this and they're gonna beat you every time. It's not gonna work that way, right? Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and continue. 4-4-2 is a homing move, and yeah, pretty much that's it. That's pretty much it. That covers the tracking moves and the homing moves. So next we will take a look at the pressure options. Okay, so I'm gonna try to cover the pressure guide as best as I could, but as you guys already know, I've already had a really good pressure guide before. If you guys want, you guys can just take a look at that. I will leave that particular guide on the comments, and you guys, not the yeah, in the bottom, so you guys can just watch it if you guys want. And then I'll just go over the basic pressure options and what you could do to kind of like stop your opponent from walking or frame trapping them, right? So let's start off with the best, the highest amount of pressure that you can get on block, which is this move here, which the rolling 4 and the 2-1-4 and whatever one you want to throw, as long as you throw that 4 move that looks like that at the end, is all +7, right, on block. First of all, I want to say that this move has a real pressure on block and a fake pressure threat if you don't throw it, right? So if you don't throw it, you could always mix this up sometimes. If your opponent is respecting that you're going to throw it, you can just mix this up. And I'm not going to go into detail, like I said, because I've already got an entire pressure guide about it. We're just going to look at the real pressure here and describe how you should deal with walkers, right? Or in general, frame trap. So if you guys don't already know, frame trap is pretty simple, right? Frame trap is basically any move you throw out that is faster than your opponent's next move because of the pressure that you've imposed on them, right? And let's say if I got a +7 and I use like a 15 frame move and they throw a jab, that's a frame trap. I'm gonna trap them, right? But what is really useful here is if you throw this particular +7 frame move and your opponent doesn't want to guard and they want to walk, and let's just say they want to walk left for the moment. They want to walk left. Down 4-2 may frame trap them, but if they walk left, they would definitely be able to get away from this. For some reason, they're not able to on this particular situation. I don't know why. Okay, I guess +7 is too much, so they can't walk at all, +7. So for this situation, +7, you might as well just do down 4-2. You have no threat at using down 4-2 at all, because it will track both ways now, because the threat, I mean the off balance plus frame is so high that they can't even walk it. So for the most part, you could always use down 4-2 there if you want. You could always do down 4-1 +2, because that's what I usually use. However, it is not enough for this particular move. So don't throw this move unless it has some form of tracking. For example, this down forward 2 does have tracking, so it will catch both ways from here. And the safe option to go is obviously down forward 333. It will track both ways at +7 here. Of course, not on every character because this is just on Anna. If you use Lily, it might be different, right? And of course, down 4 1 2 will also track both way at +7 here. So yeah, you don't have to worry too much. So if you want a safe option after that for a frame trap, down 4 1 2, down 4 3 3 3 for spacing, you know. If you want to try to get a launch, down 4 2, up to you. It tracks both ways and it will at least catch anyone that presses button as well. Frame trap, you know. Okay, next, sidestep for 4-2. For 4-2 on block, if you get this on block, it's +6. And for some reason, if you get this on block, +6 is not enough for down 4-2 to catch walking left character, right? So from earlier, you guys can remember what kind of move you could use if they're walking this way. And because this no longer is a frame trap here, right? If you use a back 4 here, this is no longer a frame trap. They could jab you out of it, right? So if you want to stop them from walking that particular way, and if they're walking a lot that way, you can use down back 1. This is still a frame trap. Well, kind of, not really, because it's 16 frames, but it hit at 17. But if they're walking, then you'll be okay. But if they're jabbing, but the other option is obviously up 4-1. Up 4-1 will, but then it's not a mid, which kind of sucks. So you're kind of screwed here because this thing won't hit at 16, it hits at 17 instead. So you do have other options, so you don't have to worry too much, because on counterclockwise you could, on clockwise you could also use like 4-2, but this also is a high, so, and it doesn't completely track very well. So yeah, you have to delay this too. It's kind of weird, but then your other mid options is obviously from here you could just do down 4 3 3 3 will catch. So for 4-2 off of this, down 4 3 3 3 will frame trap, and also down 4 1 2 will also, okay, down 4 1 2 for some reason doesn't have that good of a tracking as well. So just use down 4 3 3 3 if you want after 4-2. It will catch both ways. So yeah, so if you want to catch both ways, that will be your best option for spacer and safe, unless you're playing like Gigas or whatnot. Of course, the other way, you can still frame trap with down 4-2 the other way, which is this way here. If they're going this way here, you could still trap with down 4-2. So yeah, if they like walking this way, use down 4-2. Okay, next, your quarter circle 4-1. This could go up to at least 7 if you want. 6 plus 6 on block if you get the right angle, right? Same thing here, but once you use this move, it's a little bit more difficult because your plus frame is not as much. So in other words, down 4-3 will no longer track both ways at all. So in this situation, you really have to utilize one of two things: the down 4-1, because this is also a pressure, meaning that if you do get this on block, boom, this will track both ways, and plus it will crush the high jab, right? But the problem here is you don't get much out of that. You get a very little damage, and for the most part, down 4-2 should track this part right here. So yeah. So yeah, and unless it's really laggy, unless not laggy, unless it's really fluent and you press it immediately, it will whiff, right? But for the most part, it usually doesn't whiff, depending on how it's done, right? Yeah, if you press it really fast, it will always whiff. For some reason, between like +4, plus maybe 2 to like 4, down 4 2 will normally whiff. It's weird, right? But if you delay it just a tad, it's okay. You see, if you delay it like this, it's okay. So same thing here. If you delay a little bit, it will work. But you don't want to delay it, then sometimes it will whiff like that. But for the most part, if you know your opponent's gonna walk, just use 4-4-3. Just use. I'm gonna say this forever. Just use 4-4-3. It's so good. Okay. With that said, let's go ahead and cover the other ones. So these are all plus frames on block. This new down 2 is obviously +2, +1, +2 on block, depending on how far you hit your opponent. So you could utilize this however way you want. For the most part, I've been just using like low jabs because you could do that, and then you could also use Magic 4 as well. Magic 4 will catch while rising attacks, so it'll frame trap while rising attack. And then you also have the down 4-1. It also gives you +4, +2. Pretty much utilize it the same way. Most times at high rank, I'll tell you guys that most time at high rank, they'll probably walk the last one. So the way you want to create fake pressure is throw out down 3-4 a lot and mix down 3-4 with down 3-2, right? Because if you throw out down 3-4 a lot into neutral, they're gonna start ducking you and then just launch you, right? So if you do that, you can mix it up with this move, which is only -13. It's not very punishable, and you don't take much for as much as you're gonna do damage anyways, right? And then of course, if you start throwing these two a lot and you see that they start walking after this one, then that means it's a fake pressure and it's pretty much your turn, because now that they're walking, you could actually just throw something, right? You could throw something immediately. You could even go for 4-3 if you want, right? Because it's a situation where they're expecting you to throw this last move. They're hoping to see this last move come out, but it didn't come out, right? Yeah, so let's just say if they don't see the move come out, they're probably gonna walk you and hope that it comes out, or if they're just gonna, and if they don't and they just immediately stop and throw something, like let's say they react by, oh boom, guard left, let's say boom duck, or not duck, let's say guard, and then they're just trying to sidestep, boom, sidestep down 4-2, right? You could just down up like this and then guard this and then guard, just like that. Okay, and then pretty much that covers most of the pressure option, I believe. Like I said, sidestep 4 is very tricky, guys, because it does force crouch, but you guys have to understand that the opponent is always on the other side. They're always playing on P1 side, so they will always be walking this way. So in other words, you down 4, this would not really catch them. Here it catches them, but if you trade sides right here, if you switch sides right here and you actually make them go this way, this will never hit them, because it's, well, I guess I lied. Sometimes it does hit them. Okay, but my point is, if you use this sidestep 3, you have a lot of options. You can throw a lot of options here, because you can get +4 to +6, right? And obviously I do down 4-1-2 a lot. Of course, if they just walk you, sometimes they will be able to walk away from this. For example, right? So that's why I say use down 4-2, right? Or not down 4-2, just 4-4-3, right? 4-4-3 is always your best option. If you have a player that likes to walk, then you should use down 4-4-3 a lot, right? But if your opponent doesn't walk that much, then you should just play really safe mid options, right? That's how you should use it, right? Okay, and I hope that covers enough of the pressure guide. If not, I hope you guys check out that other pressure guide. It's far more detailed, and it will like open up your mind about what fake pressure is and real pressure is. So I'm just gonna stop here for the pressure, and then I'm gonna try to cover the CJM in detail, and obviously not too much detail because I've already got that secret technique like I said before. So yeah. Okay, so this is the full crouch mix up part. Full crouch mix up, pretty much your low option is this move here. It's a launcher. And your mid option, obviously, you could do this as a launcher, or you could do whatever you want, right? All these other mid options are your mid options. But obviously my go-to one is always while rising 3. Okay, of course you lose a lot of damage if you just go for while rising 3, because if you're a mix-up heavy player, of course the only two you want is full crouch down forward 2 and while rising 2, right? So for the most part, if you want to play a heavy mix-up full crouch game, that should be your go-to, right? And a lot of times player just sets this up by going right into it. For example, I'm not a for instance, I'm not a heavy mix-up full crouch mix-up player, so I wouldn't be able to give you a lot of information on this. But I'll tell you guys that they've made it that Anna can set herself up a lot to go into full crouch, right? So for example, if you do a side step 2, you could just go into full crouch mix-up from here, right? Immediately on the fly. But a lot of times people could just hit you out of it. Of course, 1, 2, 3, same thing. They could always hit you out of it, but you are far enough that most jabs will probably not hit you, you know, from 1, 2, 3. And then you can go into a full crouch mix up there if you want. So pretty much when you're doing spacer moves or these low poke moves that space you out as well on hit, you could always go for full crouch mix up immediately from those situations, right? Those are one way to get your full crouch mix up game to start, right? So like back off, boom, something like that. Back off, boom, while rising 2. You know, because a lot of times after spacing, players could be coming in, player could be throwing something out, and all you want to do is space them out, watch what they're going to do, because they whiff, gives you the opportunity to really throw something, right? Example, same thing right here, whiff, boom, do something, right? Boom, whiff, maybe while rising 2, whatever. But that's up to you, because if you are willing to throw out a full crouch mix up after they whiff instead of just going for whiff punish, that's up to you, completely up to you. I would never do that, but I would try to get a whiff punish, right? So that's my thing. But obviously there are other setups that you can do to get into full crouch mix up. You can obviously use any pressure option and do a full crouch mix up if you want, because when you're going to full crouch mix up, you're not telling yourself I'm going to hit my opponent because I have enough frame of, it's not a frame trap. That's my point. It's not a frame trap. It's just a mix up where you really believe that you could possibly catch them, right? So in other words, if you're going into something like this and you just want to make them guess immediately, you can totally go into something like this, right? If you want to do that, that's up to you. Other setups that you can have are for 4-3, sometimes players can jab late and you can get under the jab and go into a mix-up, right? So for 4-3, duck, mix-up. For 4-3, duck, mix-up. Also, safe moves like this. Safe moves like this, sometimes players jabs. If they jab, you can just go under the jab, mix-up. Or, like I always say, you could just go for the punish, depending on how you want to do it. And then, obviously, there is a whole there's just a lot of a good safe options, like down 4-1-2, stop, go for full crouch mix up if you want, right? There's a fake pressure option there. 2-1 back, 2-1 neutral down, full crouch mix up there if you want, right? You can do, let's say, a lot of times you can do down 3-4 as well. Down 3-4, usually if they don't duck that second one, usually they can duck that second one too, but this is also a conditioning situation. If you see them ducking this a lot, you can obviously use down 3-2 here, but conditioning your opponent to not throw is a good way to space them out and then throw full crouch mix up if you want. But Like I said, I'm not gonna be the kind of player to say that use full crouch mix up is great, blah blah blah. I'm not that kind of player. I'm more of like a reactive player. I'm not a guess heavy type player. So if you want to go that route and be the guess heavy type player, you could literally full crouch mix up anytime you space your opponent out, anytime you get plus frame, anytime that you are in a situation where I call fake pressure, you can throw full crouch mix up. So yeah, just do it that way, and you will get your full crouch mix-up pretty much to land on your opponent on block or on hit, depending on if they guess right or not. So that is a way to throw it out a lot. Like if I can, okay, so the last portion is the Chaos Judgment stance, the back three, or any transition that you can get into back three, back, right? So the thing is, once you start to understand the CJM stance and what it's capable of, you start to realize that whenever you transition into it, a lot of times you're more than likely going to be safe, right? You're going to be okay to use it, right? For example, sometimes you may get 2-3 not on block. I mean, not to hit, and it hits on block. And you're at -3, but you're still fairly safe, right? Because most times players cannot jab you out of. I mean, they could jab you, but you could just get away from jabs, right? I think I need to describe this because I saw somebody comment on this, and I think I should just show this in more detail. Okay, so let's say you missed the punish, you do 2-3 back, and you got into this stance, and now you're minus, right? You're minus a lot. You're -3. And now it's your opponent's turn and they just want to jab, right? Let's say they just want to do a single jab. Just a single jab. What happens is that if you go into this stance and they just single jab you, you have a lot of options, right? You could either go into a quarter circle for 2-1 for a kind of like a more damaging option in launching away, or this one as well. These are pretty much the two same option, right? So what you should do is, oh, I meant to do 2-3 back here because let's just show example, right? So if they want to single jab you, this will beat it out, but of course you have to do it faster. So like this, maybe. It's harder to show because, yeah, see, like that. See, I couldn't block. That was a punish. Yep. So just to prove to you guys that that was a punish, I'll go ahead and display the opponent's information here so you can see the punish on the other side. Boom, boom, you see? So like that. So if they just want to single jab you, boom, boom, right? Boom, boom. Boom, jab, boom, boom. And then, of course, it will get to a point if you spam this way too much. Don't constantly just spam this because, oh, now you know you could duck jabs, right? Don't do that. Don't do that, because once you do that, they're going to start doing, like, they'll just be, okay, he's gonna do that, I'm gonna just down 4-2, right? And then it becomes a real mess now, right? Because now you're just gonna down 4-2. And then you're gonna have to be like, okay, I know, next time I will just do 1, right? And then they'll be like, okay, he's gonna do that again, down 4-2, boom. Down 4-2, down 4-2, bah. Okay, for the most part, you won't be too bad because this will not normally get crushed. It will be able to hit most down 4-2 options since I tested out. But my point is, if you really utilize CJM to its max, pretty much no matter when you do it, as long as it's from like 2-3 back while rising 3 back, or 4-4-3 4-3 back, these particular situation, you're pretty much going to be able to duck the high jabs. You're always going to be able to duck the high jabs and interrupt pretty much any 13 frame move, right? I mean, of course, there's going to be some 12 frame moves you're not going to beat out, right? And if they have those moves, then hey, most likely those 12 frame moves are like one hit moves that are usually going to just either knock you down or something like that. And then, you know, if they have a good 12 frame move, usually you don't have an answer for it, right? But as long as if it's a jab or if it's a mid check, usually you should be safe by doing this to tray with the jab, or you could just take the jab and sometime, you know, not the jab. I'm talking about the poke, the 13 frame poke. You could just take them, or you could, like I said, interrupt them with that. But if not that, and if they jab, just duck under the jab, right? And then, as I've mentioned before, your delay options with arm attack, pretty much from, you know, a stance, is gonna track both ways, so you don't have to worry too much about the tracking. But if you really need like the instant tracking, then 1+2 will track. Let me just show you guys so that you guys can see. So yeah, 1+2 would track this way, boom, right? Quarter circle 4-2-1 would track this way. Down back 3-3 definitely would track that way. Like I said before, the neutral, the delay will track this way. Even 2-1 will track this way on delay. And then the other side, it's just the same, kind of almost the same. Delay 1+2 will track that way. 1+2 neutral, natural will not. Delay, I mean, yeah, delay 1, not even delay 1, because 1 naturally tracks that way. So in this situation, you don't have to delay because you're a -3. So yeah, this will track that way. Quarter circle 4-1 will naturally track that way. Delay 2-1 will track that way. Pretty much anything that you know, anything that you throw from the arms will track that way if you delay. And if you don't delay, then like I said, you already have tracking moves anyways that you don't have to delay for. And that pretty much covers all CJM. And yeah, I hope that is everything, guys. So I hope that will help you guys out. And then see you guys next time. Bye bye. Ta-da.